You're a summoner? That's the weakest class in the world. The moment Lin Xiao awakened his class, everyone laughed at him. His rival called him trash. No team wanted him. No one believed he could clear a dungeon. Even a normal combat class was considered better than becoming a summoner. But they had no idea. Lin Xiao had awakened a unique S-tier talent. A talent so powerful that nobody else in the world could ever obtain it. Every single day, he gains a brand new S-rank talent. His first summon was just a tiny skeleton. Weak, pathetic, worthless. But after receiving an S-rank talent, it evolved into a terrifying Death Knight. A monster capable of slaughtering entire armies. Then his slime gained the power of endless evolution through devouring. His goblin became a master of legendary weapons. And that was only the beginning. While other people struggled to make one summon stronger, Lin Xiao gave countless S-rank talents to all of his summons. Every day they evolved. Every day they grew stronger. Every day they became more terrifying. Geniuses, prodigies, heroes, none of them could even defeat his weakest summon. Then the abyss descended upon the world. Demon gods appeared. Ancient monsters awakened. Even the gods themselves looked down upon humanity. But when humanity stood on the edge of extinction, one man stepped forward. Behind him stood an army powerful enough to shake heaven and earth. An army of death knights, ancient beasts, divine creatures, and beings powerful enough to rival gods. The world finally realized one terrifying truth. The strongest army was never an army. The strongest kingdom was never a kingdom. It was one summoner, and his summons. This is the story of Lin Xiao, the summoner who turned the weakest class into the strongest existence in the world. Week 1 8-hour video will be uploaded. All novels uploaded here are completed, so you will get a full story without searching or waiting. I have listened to the translated version on web, and there are no major problems with translation. If you want Chinese novel translated, give me the original name of the novel and I will respond to your request as soon as possible. Please make sure your request is on the latest video. If you hear this "u" sound in the novel, it means either question mark or some space is left, like getting materials or experience gain there more but not shown. If after a name is used and after there is silence, it means exclamation marks were used as in shock. I don't know if this will happen in recorded one, but it happened in web version. Chapter 257, the 23rd floor. Celia was still there, still trapped inside the iron cage, and still calling out for someone to save her. Looking at her, Lin Xiao couldn't help but feel a hint of suspicion. Was this a trap deliberately set by the Tower of Heaven? Celia was a special NPC in the Tower of Heaven, possessing unique abilities. But would an NPC like this appear continuously, on every single floor? If he didn't save her, would she follow him like a wandering ghost? Lin Xiao felt that was impossible. As for the reason, he couldn't quite articulate it. I didn't do it on purpose before, and besides, I helped you carry so many things in the Golden City, you can't repay kindness with malice. Celia looked wronged, as if she were about to burst into tears the next second. Golden City? Lin Xiao suddenly remembered that after submitting the quest on the 20th floor, everything she acquired was given to him as a reward. She seemed to have no memory of this, or perhaps, I can save you, but you have to pay a reward. Lin Xiao asked tentatively. No problem, but I don't have anything valuable on me right now. How about I help you grab some things later as payment? Hee. As she finished speaking, Celia chuckled. Nothing at all? So was the memory of him giving her 30% of the reward deleted? Didn't you take a lot of things from the Golden City? You took everything. You didn't leave a single item for me. Celia leaned against the cage in annoyance. Lin Xiao immediately understood. Sure enough, that segment of memory had been deleted. She had not received that 30% reward. Seeing that Lin Xiao remained silent, Celia quickly added, Actually, I'm not that mad at you. I willingly gave it up. After all, you saved me, and if I hadn't insisted on taking that silk scarf, the Golden Stone Giant wouldn't have mutated, and you wouldn't have nearly been beaten to death. By the end of her sentence, Celia lowered her head in self-reproach. A silk scarf, right? Celia seemed to have taken a silk scarf like that. In fact, Lin Xiao wasn't sure if that silk scarf caused the Golden Stone Giant to mutate, because at that time, his attention wasn't on Celia. But hearing her say that now, perhaps it really was the silk scarf's fault. A silk scarf that could make the Golden Stone Giant so terrifying must not be simple. Heavenly immortal silk scarf. Quality? Effect? I can't even see the information? Lin Xiao was surprised. There was only one situation where information couldn't be seen. When the item exceeded the level cap. This item is definitely not simple. No wonder the Golden Stone Giant became so terrifying. Thinking back to that mutated Golden Stone Giant, Lin Xiao felt a faint ache in his chest. It's this silk scarf. I really liked it, but you aggressively snatched it away. Celia complained sadly. Aggressively snatched away. Lin Xiao was speechless. He didn't know what kind of memories this NPC had been filled with, but it had nothing to do with him. Leaving the 23rd floor, he entered the 24th floor. The professionals here were stronger. These are all puppets controlled by the puppet master. The further you go, the stronger the puppets become. You must find the puppet master. Celia reminded him. Yes, she was still here on the 24th floor. Puppet master? Lin Xiao raised an eyebrow. Naturally, he wouldn't doubt Celia's words. Looking around, Lin Xiao did not see the hidden puppet master. How can I find the puppet master? Lin Xiao asked. This puppet master was probably also a hidden monster. If you save me, I'll tell you. Next time for sure. After a careful search, checking every corner of the 23rd floor, he still couldn't find the puppet master Celia mentioned. If I can't find him, so be it. Anyway, it's not far from the 30th floor. Even if the difficulty increases, it won't increase by much. Lin Xiao gave up searching for the puppet master and directly entered the 24th floor of the Tower of Heaven. On the 24th floor, he was still facing professionals, but their level had reached 40, and their skills had become more diverse. How about you save me, and I tell you how to find the puppet master? If you don't deal with the puppet master, it will be very troublesome in the end. He will control you, and you'll become one of them. Celia warned Lin Xiao. Lin Xiao didn't care, saying calmly, "We'll talk about it after he controls me." The Death Knight was like the arrival of the Grim Reaper, his scythe constantly harvesting the lives of the professionals before him, killing them all single-handedly. Swoosh! Suddenly, Lin Xiao felt his body sway, sensing that something had targeted him. Ah, see? He noticed you. If you don't find him soon, you're going to be controlled. Celia had been watching Lin Xiao. Seeing his momentary daze, she knew the puppet master's attention was now on him. I will find him, Lin Xiao said calmly. Since it was known that the 30th floor of the Tower of Heaven held the avatar of the City Lord of Light, the puppet master could only be in the remaining floors, which made finding him much easier. The 25th floor. Lin Xiao felt his movements were restricted, as if fine strings were tugging at his limbs, preventing him from using them easily. Ah, string. You have so many strings on you, Celia exclaimed. Lin Xiao tried grabbing at the empty space but found nothing. He estimated that he could only see them using special means, or perhaps only Celia could see them. The 26th floor. This time, since his own movements were hindered, even the Death Knight's actions were significantly affected, making this battle extremely difficult. Moreover, the coordination among these professionals was becoming increasingly perfect, making it hard for even the Death Knight to find an opening. The 27th floor. The feeling was even stronger this time. Lin Xiao felt completely bound, like he was wrapped inside a cocoon, unable to move. Wow, you're almost completely wrapped up, Celia shrieked. She couldn't understand why Lin Xiao wouldn't save her. If he saved her, wouldn't he easily escape his predicament? Why wouldn't he save her? Why on earth? Here, the Death Knight was struggling to fight, almost immobilized, becoming a punching bag. Lin Xiao could only summon the Snow Girl doll to fight. If the 27th floor is already this monstrous, what about the floors ahead? Lin Xiao couldn't imagine the later floors of the Tower of Heaven. Or perhaps the current difficulty was due to Celia. Even if he didn't save her, her special ability could still be activated. The 28th floor. Lin Xiao felt his vision was completely white, unable to see anything. Lin Xiao, are you controlled? Celia asked tentatively. Not yet, but I think I'm close to finding him. Ah, you're still not controlled? You clearly have so many strings attached to you. Celia was a little surprised, because in her view, Lin Xiao currently looked like a cocoon covered in silk threads. Suddenly, seeing Lin Xiao head toward the 29th floor, she quickly shouted, "Ah, don't go up yet. You'll be controlled if you go up. How about you save me first instead?" Chapter 258. The 29th floor. Lin Xiao ignored Celia's warning and stepped right in. The moment he stepped in, a powerful spirit attack, almost tangible, lunged at him like a ferocious beast, attempting to completely seize control of his consciousness and turn him into a shell to be manipulated at will. This tide-like spiritual force fiercely assaulted Lin Xiao's spiritual defense line, making his head feel as if it were being continuously struck by several heavy hammers simultaneously. Blow after blow, each one left Lin Xiao dizzy and disoriented, as if the entire world was spinning, seeing stars, and his thoughts becoming muddled. However, Lin Xiao showed no intention of backing down. He held his breath and focused his mind, forcibly concentrating his scattered attention, fighting against the spiritual force like a ship struggling to maintain its course in a storm. When it came to spirit, he had never feared anyone. Just then, a strange ripple suddenly appeared in the void, and an eye emitting a faint green light slowly opened, observing Lin Xiao indifferently. "I found you." Lin Xiao grinned, looking up to meet the gaze of the faintly glowing green eye. "You certainly made me look hard for you. No matter how much you hide, you couldn't possibly hide on the 30th floor, right?" The 30th floor was the territory of the avatar of the city Lord of Light. There was no way he would appear there. White silk threads appeared and draped down around him. Lin Xiao now understood what he looked like in Celia's eyes. He indeed looked like a cocoon. Following the sensation, Lin Xiao saw the true appearance of the puppet master. Sitting atop a rock suspended in midair was a small figure resembling an elf. The figure was tiny, resembling a child of 7 or 8, with delicate features, slightly dark skin, and large, bright eyes that flickered with a faint green light, radiating a chilling coldness. At this moment, the puppet master held 2 crossbars used to control the puppet strings in his hands. Those hands were slender and long, the fingers like tender scallions. Yet these seemingly delicate small hands controlled terrifying power. It was clear that this was how he manipulated the professionals who had turned into puppets. "Wow, Lin Xiao, you actually weren't controlled. How did you do that?" Celia's shocked voice arrived. Yes, she was here too. But Lin Xiao was already used to it and took no notice. "You are the first human who could withstand my multi-layered spiritual pressure. Are all beast masters' spirits this powerful?" The puppet master spoke faintly, his hollow voice carrying a certain infectious quality. "But, even if you can endure it, can your summoned beasts endure it? The moment you summon them, they will fall into my hands." Snap, snap, snap. The special stone skin peeled off, and the professionals, manipulated by the puppet master, woke up and approached Lin Xiao. Yes, the puppet master was not alone here. There were also the controlled professionals. Lin Xiao looked at the puppet master not far away, showing no fear, and said calmly, "You don't really think that a summoner like me without a summoned beast is just a lamb waiting to be slaughtered, do you?" The puppet master frowned. "Isn't that true?" Then he let out a sneer. "Even if you have other tricks, you can't deal with these puppets." Under the puppet master's command, the professionals launched their attack. Lin Xiao unhurriedly took out the visage of 5 phases and said calmly, "World-ending primordial fire." Ding! A golden flame slowly descended, its fiery tail dragging space behind it, seemingly melting the very space of this area. The next moment, boom! The flames erupted instantly. The instant he saw the flames, his ears felt deafened, unable to hear anything, only hearing the boom 2 or 3 seconds later. An unprecedented inferno swallowed everything in sight, as if even the dungeon was about to be burned through. The puppet master in the distance was completely stunned, his faint green eyes reflecting the crimson of the flames. How do you know a forbidden curse? The puppet master asked this question, his heart pounding with fear. Glancing at the professionals who had been incinerated until nothing remained, Lin Xiao looked at the puppet master and said calmly, "Is it strange for a summoner like me to know a forbidden curse? Isn't it strange?" The puppet master widened his eyes and questioned angrily, but he quickly calmed down and sneered. "Using a forbidden curse consumes not only magic power but also your spirit." The puppet master launched another spiritual attack against Lin Xiao, trying to control him. But he quickly realized that even after Lin Xiao used a forbidden curse, his spirit remained rock-solid and unshakable. "Now it's your turn." Lin Xiao activated the visage of 5 phases again. The eyes of the wind phase dragon lit up, and a fierce gale suddenly arose, with terrifying wind blades destroying everything around them. Wind-type forbidden curse, Great Gale God. Another forbidden curse? The puppet master was greatly shocked. Forbidden curses were immensely powerful, but he had never seen anyone cast a second forbidden curse in such a short period. But at this moment he had no time to think further. He abruptly tugged the strings in his hand, and a giant appeared in the void, immediately blocking him. The gigantic body now served as the puppet master's meat shield, taking all the terrible wind blades. Even though its body was riddled with holes, it did not retreat a single step. "Since I can't control you spiritually, I'll just have to forcibly make you obey my commands." The puppet master moved his fingers slightly, and the strings on the crossbar attacked Lin Xiao, attempting to control him this way. Lin Xiao smiled faintly, and the eyes of the thunder phase dragon in the visage of 5 phases lit up. Immediately, thunder rumbled in the sky, and a streak of purple flashed across the heavens, carrying an aura of slaughter and destruction. Feeling the terrifying aura contained in the sky, the puppet master instantly broke down. "Another forbidden curse. How can you, a mere beast master, continuously unleash so many forbidden curses?" The puppet master cursed loudly. This time it was the lightning-type forbidden curse, Purple Heaven Thunder Roar. It wasn't over yet. The eyes of the dark phase dragon lit up, and the world gradually lost its light, as if they had fallen into a boundless dark space. Dark-type forbidden curse, boundless darkness. The puppet master only managed to utter one sound before his pupils lost focus, plunging into the darkness. The next moment, before he could break free, a thunderclap violently struck down, instantly blasting him into dust. Successfully killed puppet master. Hidden. EXP plus 100,000. Seeing the kill notification, Lin Xiao was not surprised. The puppet master was indeed a hidden monster. Being this absurd before even reaching the 30th floor was clearly impossible. If he weren't a summoner with absurdly high spirit, it would have been truly difficult to deal with him. For other professionals, the situation would be much worse. They would become soulless shells the moment they entered. No, they probably wouldn't even be able to climb this far. They would have been controlled on the previous floors. So, Celia can still be useful even without being rescued? Chapter 259. Congratulations. Your level has increased to level 41. Obtained. Control Thread. Item. *1. Control Thread. Can control targets whose level is lower than yours. The number controlled is related to your own spirit. Current quantity. 100. Seeing the item obtained after killing the puppet master, Lin Xiao was stunned, confirmed it again, and finally exclaimed, "Holy crap! It can control 100 targets? How is this thing so powerful?" 100 targets, that's terrifying. In other words, he can now control 100 level 40 professionals. If I reach level 61, can this control level 60 class awakening professionals? A crazy idea popped into Lin Xiao's mind. Level 60 is the watershed for all classes. Classes undergo a qualitative change, and their strength becomes much greater than before. If it can control even those, that would truly be terrifying. Having 100 level 60 class awakening professionals serving as his thugs, the mere thought of it was horrifying. Temporarily putting aside this ridiculous idea and carefully storing the control thread, Lin Xiao looked toward the entrance leading to the 30th floor. Time to go to the final floor. Tower of Heaven, 30th floor, the avatar of the City Lord of Light. Just as Lin Xiao was preparing to leave, Celia suddenly called out to him, "Hey, are you just going to walk away? Looking so refreshed? Save me." Lin Xiao replied without turning his head. "Pay up first." Celia, after a period of silence, she said pitifully, "I didn't expect you to be this kind of person, valuing money so much." Lin Xiao shrugged. In truth, he didn't care about the money. He simply didn't want to save Celia. After all, saving her carried great risk, and he had no need to take such a chance. If it were just an ordinary dungeon run, he might consider saving her, since triggering hidden monsters and special zones often yielded good rewards. But right now, he was saving his own life. If anything unexpected happened, he would be finished. I have money." Celia's eyes lit up, and she suddenly shouted, "You have money?" Lin Xiao stopped walking, turned around, and looked at Celia in surprise. He was certain that Celia was penniless right now. Otherwise, she would have taken it out long ago and wouldn't have waited until now. "There's actually another hidden area here. How about I tell you about it, and that can be the payment for saving me?" Celia suggested. This was the money she was talking about. Another special area? Lin Xiao raised an eyebrow, inevitably recalling the Golden City on the 17th floor. "Yes, you save me, and I'll tell you." Celia held up 3 fingers and said seriously, "I swear I won't lie to you. If I lie, may I be struck by lightning." Lin Xiao ignored her, activating the abyssal eye to look around for the special area. Soon, a rippling space caught his attention. "Is that it?" Seeing Lin Xiao's actions, Celia shrieked, "Ah, how did you find it? Wait, I'm telling you now, it's right there. You'll save me, right?" Ignoring Celia's screams and shouts, Lin Xiao approached the rippling space and gently touched it. The space rippled open like water. Following this, a door appeared in the void and slowly opened. "There's actually a place like this. Thanks. If you hadn't told me, I really wouldn't have noticed." Celia_woo, "No, don't go in. I found it first." She regretted it a little. No, it was more that she hadn't expected Lin Xiao to be able to discover this special area himself. Stepping inside, Lin Xiao saw various forms of puppets. Among these puppets, human-shaped ones accounted for quite a few. There were burly men, ferocious-looking boxers wearing gauntlets, comical-faced bald men carrying turtle-shell shields, long sword-wielding warriors. There were 40 to 50 puppets of this type alone. In addition, there were many non-human puppets. One was shaped like a giant python, its scales gleaming with a metallic sheen, flashing a cold, eerie light in the dimness. A sphinx-like creature was even more extraordinarily imposing, its body as strong as a lion's, giving the impression it could crush rocks barehanded. Not far away, there was also a berserk beast, massive in size, easily 2 people tall, its muscles bulging and veins throbbing, seemingly filled with endless rage and power. Its hands were as thick and wide as bare paws, its claws sharp and curved, seeming capable of tearing apart anything in its path. Its fur was made of coarse mane, standing stiffly, revealing a primitive and savage aura. Seeing these puppets, Lin Xiao immediately understood what kind of place this was. The puppet master's warehouse. He stored all the puppets he could control here, taking them out to assist in combat when needed. I was curious how that giant suddenly appeared during the fight. So this is how it happened. Lin Xiao smiled and took out the control thread he had just acquired. It's a good thing I didn't dawdle. Otherwise, if you had taken all these puppets out, dealing with them would have been extremely troublesome. Anything stored in the warehouse must be good stuff. Otherwise, the puppet master would have taken them out and used them long ago. However, he never expected Lin Xiao to be able to use a forbidden curse, which gave him no chance to use these puppets, so they were naturally all left behind. Now, they were all cheaply handed over to Lin Xiao. Since these are all things you left behind, I'll gladly accept them. Lin Xiao released the threads and began controlling these puppets, claiming them all as his own. Since the puppet master was dead, the puppets in this warehouse naturally belonged to him. Threads were continuously released, falling into the puppets' bodies, and then vanishing. Although he couldn't see the threads, Lin Xiao could feel the connection between himself and them. He could manipulate them at will and issue commands. Soon, all the puppets in the warehouse fell into Lin Xiao's hands. There weren't many, only 65, far from reaching the control thread's limit. 65 loyal fighters. Not bad. Lin Xiao was satisfied with this unexpected gain. As the control thread was retracted, the puppets in the warehouse disappeared along with it, stored within Lin Xiao's space for him to use as he pleased. Leaving the warehouse where the puppets were stored, Lin Xiao saw Celia, who looked extremely wronged. Thanks. I'll come back to save you when I get the chance. Lin Xiao greeted Celia in a friendly manner. Although he might see her again on the 30th floor, that didn't stop him from saying goodbye now. Celia, underscore Lin Xiao, you bastard. You scoundrel. Oh, I shouldn't have told you about this area. Now she was still trapped inside the iron cage, and her only bargaining chip had been taken away. Chapter 260, 30th floor. Stepping into this place, Lin Xiao immediately felt a sense of oppression. The surroundings were as dark as ink. With the faint light, he could barely make out that the layout here resembled a palace, exuding a mysterious and ancient aura. The source of this faint light was the sun in the sky. As Lin Xiao stepped in, that faint white light suddenly bloomed. The light, like the dawn sun, instantly tore through the darkness. In the center of the light, a figure stood proudly, surrounded by a flowing halo, as if a deity had descended. It was the City Lord of Light. To be precise, it was an avatar. The avatar of the City Lord of Light was tightly encased in a set of resplendent armor, crafted from the purest crystals. Intricate patterns were carved on the shoulder pads, ancient symbols representing light and guardianship, shimmering brightly under the illumination. The helmet was streamlined, perfectly fitting the contours of the head. His long hair was as white as snow, emitting a faint glow, and his eyes were even more brilliant and dazzling, making it impossible to look directly at them. He was not human, but a humanoid creature formed by the aggregation of pure light elements. Is this the avatar of the City Lord of Light? Only by coming face to face can one feel such an imposing aura, and this is merely an avatar. Lin Xiao exclaimed. Although he had seen the avatar of the City Lord of Light in the God's Assembly Hall, the feeling of a projection was completely different from seeing it in person. This is the God of Light's palace. Intruders, leave now, and no one will be harmed. Otherwise, the avatar of the City Lord of Light issued a majestic warning. A ring of light glowing around him, full of imposing power. Lin Xiao summoned his Death Knight, gazing at the avatar of the City Lord of Light in the sky, and said, "Indeed, someone will die, but that person will be you." The Death Knight launched an attack. His figure flickered, and the mask's ability activated. Instant strike. In an instant, he appeared before the avatar of the City Lord of Light. The scythe of the Death God in his hand, exuding a sinister aura and imbued with the power of death, struck down with the force of a thunderbolt. Arrogant! The avatar of the City Lord of Light roared, his voice echoing like a great bell. His hair, like flowing white light, whipped out suddenly, as fast as lightning. With a crisp, The Death Knight had no time to dodge and was whipped away, crashing heavily to the ground. Almost at the same moment, the Snow Girl doll's graceful figure appeared as lightly as a snowflake. Her slender hands slowly rose, her movements elegant and calm. Yet in an instant, she completed the casting of a powerful forbidden curse. Ice Waterfall Divine Art. The Snow Girl doll's crimson lips parted slightly. In an instant, the previously calm sky seemed to be torn apart by an invisible force, and terrifying, chilling ice water poured down from the crack like a Milky Way cascading. Wherever the ice water passed, the temperature plummeted, and everything around was instantly frozen. Whether it was the hard ground or the exquisite decorations in the palace, all were instantly turned into crystalline ice sculptures under this terrifying icy power. The avatar of the City Lord of Light's expression was stern. He looked at the pouring ice water, his whole body radiating brilliant light, like the dazzling sun in the sky. His right arm slowly lifted, level with his shoulder, his movements steady and powerful. In an instant, countless light elements surged from all directions, rapidly condensing in his palm. Immediately after, a dazzling beam of light shot out from his palm, like a sharp laser, carrying an earth-shattering momentum, directly rushing towards the ice water pouring down like a Milky Way. The light beam and the ice waterfall collided with a deafening roar, light and ice shards scattered, and powerful energy currents raged, distorting the surrounding air. The collision of the two forces sent shockwaves wildly spreading. The palace walls developed spiderweb-like cracks under this impact, and stone chips crumbled down. A layer of frost appeared on the avatar of the City Lord of Light's armor. Even if he could block the ice water, he could not completely resist the terrifying cold. At this moment, the Death Knight leaped up, an undead warhorse appearing beneath him, and he charged towards the avatar of the City Lord of Light again like a black meteor. With a swing of his scythe of the Death God, a dark green aura of death erupted, condensing into a massive crescent-shaped blade wave, which slashed towards the avatar of the City Lord of Light with the power of death. Caught in a pincer attack, the avatar of the City Lord of Light was utterly unable to resist. A shocking gash immediately appeared on his crystal-like armor, and the power of death continuously invaded. At this moment he extended his left hand, splaying his 5 fingers. A shield composed of pure light elements instantly formed, temporarily blocking the impact of the ice water. In a flash he aimed at the Death Knight. 2 light swords quickly materialized, and then he transformed into a beam of light, charging towards the Death Knight. Both of these individuals are very powerful. He must defeat one of them as quickly as possible, otherwise he has no chance of winning. Evidently, in the eyes of the avatar of the City Lord of Light, the Death Knight was the easiest target to eliminate. The 2 light swords, imbued with fierce airflow, slashed towards the Death Knight with nearly instantaneous speed. Facing such a fierce offensive, the Death Knight remained calm, slowly raising the scythe in his hand, which emitted a deep black light. In an instant, countless vengeful spirits howled out from the depths of darkness, like a surging black tide, frantically attaching themselves to the scythe of the Death God. These were the souls of the deceased collected earlier, stored within the scythe of the Death God and never used until now. This was their first deployment. Immediately after, the Death Knight swung his scythe fiercely. This strike seemed to carry the power of the entire underworld, and the very air twisted. With a crisp, at the same time, a hideous, death-or-emitting slash mark was left on the avatar of the City Lord of Light's armor. The avatar of the City Lord of Light stood frozen on the spot. His previously confident eyes now held only endless shock and disbelief. He was actually not his opponent? How could this be possible? In the interval while the avatar of the City Lord of Light was attacking the Death Knight, the Snow Girl doll softly chanted a forbidden curse. Suddenly, a giant ice dragon emerged from the cascading ice waterfall. Its ice-scaled armor was majestic, and its roaring shook 1,000 li, instantly shattering the shield condensed from pure light elements, and then it roared as it swept towards the avatar of the City Lord of Light. Boom! With a loud bang, the earth trembled, and the entire palace shook violently, as if it could collapse at any moment. The avatar of the city Lord of Light was violently sent flying by the ice dragon, crashing heavily to the ground. The shimmering armor on his body was now covered by a thick layer of ice, and the light source within him was completely frozen in this extreme cold, then shattered like glass. Chapter 261. Successfully killed Avatar of the City Lord of Light, Boss. Experience plus 300,000. Obtained. Core of Light, Material, *1. Emblem of Light, Equipment, *1. Flash Armor, Equipment Legendary, *1. Hearing the kill notification, Lin Xiao couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. This was merely an avatar of the City Lord of Light, yet it was able to fight against Death Knight and Snow Girl Doll for so long. One must know that this avatar of the City Lord of Light was only level 40. If it were a normal monster, even a boss would have been instantly killed, with no chance to fight back. But the avatar of the City Lord of Light actually withstood several attacks. I can't imagine how strong the City Lord of Light is. Lin Xiao couldn't help but exclaim, looking at the armor left behind after the avatar of the City Lord of Light died. Even without its owner, the armor still emitted its unique light. Afterward, Lin Xiao took out the black oil he had obtained from Old Goat. Apply the oil, light the fire, and destroy the armor to open a passage to the 95th floor. Lin Xiao recalled the method God of Fun had mentioned for reaching the 95th floor of the Tower of Heaven. Only after confirming that the process was correct did he pour the black oil onto it. As the black oil flowed, the originally bright and dazzling light on the armor was swallowed inch by inch, gradually becoming dim. Its former glory and power were being slowly drained by this strange black oil. Seeing that it was almost ready, Lin Xiao took out the eternal kindling flame, the life flame of the God of Fire. The process of obtaining the flame was quite bizarre. The God of Fire and the God of Fun bickered, and then the former, in a fit of pique, lent him the flame. It must be said that the God of Fun indeed had some tricks up his sleeve. Although he successfully borrowed the God of Fire's eternal kindling flame, it wasn't unconditionally lent. He needed to help her retrieve the armor of the Light God. If he failed, the eternal kindling flame would directly burn to ashes the moment he left the Tower of Heaven. Lin Xiao naturally wouldn't dare to ignore the God of Fire's warning. However, he had no idea where the armor of the Light God was, but he presumed it was also on the 95th floor or higher, considering he knew he needed to retrieve the heart of the City Lord of Light. So, Lin Xiao planned to try to contact the God of Fun once he reached the 95th floor to ask her for the specifics. Just as Lin Xiao was about to ignite the armor, a familiar voice suddenly came. "How do you know this armor can be ignited?" It was Celia's voice. Lin Xiao's hand trembled, and he turned his head in the direction of the voice. "You're still here? I thought you were gone. Why didn't I see you when you were fighting the avatar of the City Lord of Light?" Celia was momentarily speechless. After a moment of hesitation, she said, "I was afraid if I spoke, he would discover me. The City Lord of Light is terrifying, even if it's just an avatar." The next instant, her tone changed, and she smiled. "I didn't expect you to be so powerful, actually able to defeat the avatar of the City Lord of Light and kill him so quickly." At this point, Celia's tone turned resentful again. "You're clearly so strong, yet you said you couldn't protect me. It's obvious you just didn't want to save me." Humph! Celia's rapid change in emotions left Lin Xiao unsure how to respond. Finally, he said, "You're right. You." Celia angrily punched the iron cage, but the result was a stinging, numb hand, causing her to constantly hiss and gasp. Ignoring Celia, Lin Xiao's attention returned to the armor covered in black oil, and he threw down the eternal kindling flame in his hand. "Wait, you don't want to live? Using such a powerful flame to light black oil? You'll die." Celia quickly warned when Lin Xiao threw the flame, but the fire had already been cast and could not be retracted. The moment the flame touched the black oil, a massive fire ignited with lightning speed. In the blink of an eye, the small flame transformed into a surging, sky-covering inferno, like a giant dragon bearing its fangs and claws, wantonly rolling, roaring, and frantically burning everything around it. Lin Xiao had no time to make any effective reaction. No, even if he had been prepared beforehand, it would have been futile in the face of this terrifying blaze. The raging fire spread at an astonishing rate, covering the entire 30th floor in an instant. This place completely transformed into a scorching inferno, every inch of air distorted by the intense heat. Lin Xiao also couldn't escape this disaster. In just a moment, he was mercilessly engulfed by the overwhelming flames, disappearing into the sea of fire. Lin Xiao died. Although the rampant flames on his body were the eternal kindling flame temporarily lent to him by the god of fire, this did not mean he was immune to fire damage. He tried to dispel the flames on his body, but everything was in vain. This scorching flame was like a devil's curse, unable to be extinguished. He could only watch helplessly as the flames spread inch by inch over his entire body, completely engulfing him. Actually, maybe any fire would have worked. The god of fun deliberately borrowed such a powerful fire from the god of fire, intentionally wanting to see me burn. Lin Xiao recalled the goddess of fate's malicious, fun-loving personality. It was very possible, and thinking about it carefully, burning the avatar of the City Lord of Light's armor actually required items from two deities, one of whom was the god of fire's life flame. This was quite absurd. Wow, you really burned to death. You should have at least saved me before you burned to death. Celia watched Lin Xiao gradually burn to nothing but ash, feeling very sad. Not because he died, but because no one could save her. Just as Celia was sadly sniffling, a voice sounded beside her. This iron cage that's trapping you is quite sturdy. Even such powerful flames couldn't burn it down. I don't know why this cage is so strong either. Celia subconsciously replied, then suddenly felt something was wrong. She looked to the side and let out a booming scream. Ghost! Bang! Good sound means good head. Celia was so scared that she leaned back, her back of the head directly hitting the iron cage behind her. The pain made her clutch her head and squat down, gasping with hissing sounds. She had clearly seen Lin Xiao burn to ashes, yet now he appeared beside her. If this wasn't a ghost, what was it? Lin Xiao's eardrums hurt from her sudden scream. Why are you shouting so loudly? I'm not dead yet. Not dead? But I clearly saw you burn to death. Celia clutched her head, disbelieving that Lin Xiao was still alive. It must be a ghost. I revived, Lin Xiao said casually. With the earth preservation set, even if he died, he could revive, so he wasn't worried. Revive? Celia froze, her eyes wide, as if she had heard something incredible. Lin Xiao ignored her and looked at the armor burning not far away. The armor was collapsing, the flames gradually dying out, and a special spatial portal slowly appeared. Chapter 262. Looking at the special spatial portal in front of him, Lin Xiao knew that passing through it would lead directly to the 95th floor of the Tower of Heaven. Just one last step, Lin Xiao murmured, feeling a strange tension in his heart. At this moment, a snapping sound came from behind him. Lin Xiao turned around and saw that the iron cage holding Celia had broken, then turned into ashes. Lin Xiao! Ha! At this moment, Celia was also bewildered, looking at the iron rod she was holding, which then turned into ashes and slowly fell through the gaps. She completely failed to understand what had happened. But the next second, she shouted with joy, "Ha ha ha! Good! Too good! I'm finally out!" She danced excitedly. The only unhappy person was Lin Xiao, who cried out in his heart, "It's over! You have the ability to break this iron cage?" Lin Xiao quickly asked. Celia was a ticking time bomb, and this girl liked to run around everywhere. He had to protect her, otherwise, he wouldn't know what self-destructive actions she would take. And most importantly, the place he was going to now was extremely dangerous. The 95th floor of the Tower of Heaven. It was already good enough if he could protect himself. Having to divert his attention to protect her was simply a joke. Congratulations on successfully rescuing Celia. Escort her to the 50th floor of the Tower of Heaven to complete the quest. Note: if Celia dies, all rewards you obtained in the Tower of Heaven will be reclaimed, including experience. Damn it! Hearing the quest prompt, Lin Xiao wanted to curse. Celia shook her head. No. If I had the ability to open it myself, I would have done it long ago. At this moment, she seemed to think of something. Do you think it might be the fire you lit? Did the fire burn this cage down? Fire? Eternal kindling flame? Lin Xiao suddenly remembered the flame he used when burning the armor. That was the god of fire's innate flame. It was not strange for it to have such power. Moreover, Celia had not received any damage during the burning. The iron cage had absorbed all the damage, which also caused the iron cage to become incredibly fragile. Moreover, just now during the burning, Celia did not receive any damage. The iron cage absorbed all the damage, which also caused the iron cage to become incredibly fragile. Finally, the iron cage couldn't hold up and turned into black ash, scattering with the wind. Noticing Lin Xiao's lifeless expression, Celia pouted and said, "Are you really so unwilling to save me? At most, this time I'll listen to you. If you tell me to go east, I'll never go west, and I definitely won't run around." Lin Xiao glanced at her and chuckled. Let's hope so. The Tower of Heaven had no retraction mechanism. Since Celia had already been rescued, he could only take her with him. He just hoped she wouldn't cause trouble everywhere. Are you going to the 95th floor? I heard that the Abyss boss on the 95th floor is the true City Lord of Light, and he's very powerful. You're no match for him at all. Celia could tell at a glance where the spatial portal in front of them led. I have my own plans. You stay here. I'll go get something and then come back for you. Lin Xiao tried to leave Celia there. No way, I just got out. How could I stay here? What's the difference from being trapped? I definitely have to go with you. Celia seemed to sense Lin Xiao's worry and patted her chest, assuring him, Don't worry, I definitely won't cause trouble. If you fight the City Lord of Light, I'll definitely hide far away and won't bother you. If I fight the City Lord of Light, he'll probably fight me. Lin Xiao grumbled inwardly. Seeing Celia's enthusiastic demeanor, he resigned himself to his fate. Without needing to prepare anything, Lin Xiao directly walked into the spatial portal. Celia quickly followed, afraid of being left behind. The moment Lin Xiao stepped into the spatial portal, his body felt as if it was being pulled by an invisible force. The surrounding scenery suddenly twisted, transforming into countless shimmering fragments that rapidly receded backward. His body felt as if it was being torn apart and then reassembled. The roar of time and space whistled in his ears, and the light and shadows before his eyes intertwined, sometimes like a galaxy inverted, sometimes like an abyss devouring. Every instant felt like crossing countless invisible barriers. Time and space lost their meaning at this moment. Then, the surrounding scenery began to blur, turning into countless fine threads, as if the entire world was being dismantled and reassembled before his eyes. After an unknown amount of time, everything returned to calm. Lin Xiao felt his feet touch solid ground again, and the surrounding scenery returned to normal. This feeling is really unpleasant. Lin Xiao rubbed his head. He didn't want to experience this feeling of crossing a second time. After a brief moment of recovery, Lin Xiao observed his current location. The interior decoration of the palace was exactly the same as what he had seen on the 30th floor. If it weren't for his body clearly remembering the feeling of crossing, he would have suspected that he had returned to the 30th floor of the Tower of Heaven. The layout of the 95th floor and the 30th floor were similar, but he could feel that the space here was much wider, and there were still areas beyond. Wow! Celia was about to exclaim but felt a gaze directed at her. She quickly closed her mouth and nodded, indicating that she understood. We feel like we're here to steal something. Celia still couldn't help but whisper. We are. Lin Xiao muttered. He had come this time to steal the heart of the City Lord of Light. However, before taking action, He tried to contact the god of fun, as it was a critical moment. After several attempts, the god of fun's voice finally echoed in his mind. You're already on the 95th floor of the Tower of Heaven? That fast? The god of fun's lazy voice came through, lacking her usual playfulness. This was the first time Lin Xiao had heard her voice like this. She seemed to be resting and had been woken up by him. Do you know where the heart of the city Lord of Light is? Lin Xiao asked directly. It's usually kept in his treasury. You can look for it there. Treasury. Lin Xiao secretly noted the location, then asked again, what about the armor of the light god that the god of fire needs? Is it also in the city Lord of Light's treasury? Besides getting the heart himself, there was also the matter entrusted by the god of fire. The god of fun yawned and continued. The armor of the light god is the armor that the city Lord of Light is currently wearing. Lin Xiao. No, am I supposed to fight the city Lord of Light? Hearing Lin Xiao's silence, the god of fun seemed to be able to see his astonished expression, and then a playful laugh came. I'm kidding. How could the city Lord of Light wear the armor of the light god? Lin Xiao. The armor worn by the city Lord of Light is indeed the armor of the light god, but it's just a replica. The true armor of the light god has already been collected by him. After all, that armor was bestowed upon him by the god of light, and he's reluctant to wear it. Hearing the god of fun's explanation, Lin Xiao immediately breathed a sigh of relief. As long as it wasn't about fighting the city Lord of Light and snatching the armor from him, it was fine. By the way, what happened? You sound very tired. Lin Xiao asked casually. I investigated some things which took a lot of my energy. All right. Don't disturb my nap unless there's something important. Goodbye. Chapter 263. Investigating things. Is it investigating Lin Yao's matters? Lin Xiao wanted to ask for clarification, but he could no longer contact the god of fun. He put that aside for now. First, he needed to get the heart of the city Lord of Light. Celia watched Lin Xiao stand still, very curious, but she didn't dare to disturb him. A moment later, she heard Lin Xiao speak. There's a treasure vault here. You should know where it is, right? Celia nodded excitedly. I know. We're gonna steal things, right? I'm best at that. Lin Xiao wasn't surprised. After all, she was an NPC in the Tower of Heaven, so it was only natural for her to be familiar with its special areas and hidden monsters. Take me there. No problem. Hearing that she was needed, Celia excitedly led the way. This is the side hall. The treasure vault is behind the main hall. The city Lord of Light is in the main hall, so it won't be easy to pass through the main hall and enter the treasure vault. Celia quietly explained the situation. They then passed through the side hall together. Just as they were about to reach the main hall, Lin Xiao suddenly felt an incomparably powerful force, an authority contained within the power, as if the ruler of this world was inspecting his territory. Celia quickly led Lin Xiao to hide in a secluded corner. From this narrow vantage point, they could barely glimpse a part of the main hall's interior. It was a magnificent and grand hall. The interior of the main hall was extremely spacious, with towering stone pillars supporting a massive dome. Gems emitting a soft glow were embedded in the walls, illuminating the entire hall as bright as day. 2 rows of elite warriors in silver armor stood neatly on both sides, their postures upright, standing motionless like sculptures. The long spears in their hands gleamed with a chilling light, exuding a terrifying aura of killing. At the end of the main hall, a magnificent throne sat high above, and upon it was seated a man in dazzling armor. The armor was exquisitely carved, every pattern displaying the utmost craftsmanship, and the precious gems embedded in it shimmered brilliantly under the light. The person inside the armor was a light element aggregate, similar to the avatar of the city Lord of Light, but even more imposing and majestic. He was the city Lord of Light. Celia then explained, Look, from here you can see the situation inside, and the treasure vault is behind that big door. However, getting through the main hall is very troublesome. There's a high chance of being discovered, and once discovered, There's only one outcome: death. Feeling the power of the city Lord of Light, who continuously scanned his territory like a monarch, trying to pass through the main hall and enter the treasure vault behind him was simply a pipe dream. Must we go through here? Is there no other way? Lin Xiao asked. Celia nodded. You can only pass through here. There's no other way. Only through here. Lin Xiao fell into deep thought. With the city Lord of Light scanning like this, he would probably be discovered the moment he entered, and then he would face his merciless attack. However, Lin Xiao was not entirely without a solution. One could say he had already prepared for it. He took out the Blessing of the Gods from his backpack space. Blessing of the Gods. After use, enter an invisible and invincible state, unable to be targeted or perceived, lasting 30 minutes. It is dispelled upon attacking. This was something he had obtained a long time ago, and it was prepared precisely for this purpose. Since it's named after gods, the city Lord of Light shouldn't be able to detect it. Wow! Is that the Blessing of the Gods you're holding? This is a god-tier potion made by the witch. You're even more professional than me. Celia exclaimed when she saw the potion in Lin Xiao's hand. The witch! This was the first time Lin Xiao had heard of the potion's creator. Yes, the witch who makes potions. She's very clever and eccentric, capable of making all sorts of strange and wonderful potions. Is that so? If there's a chance, I'd like to meet her. Lin Xiao immediately became interested. Anyone who could create such a powerful potion must be extraordinary. You can't meet her. She disappeared a long time ago. She might already be dead, Celia said. Might already be dead? Lin Xiao raised an eyebrow, couldn't help but glance at Celia, and asked, Why do you know so clearly? Celia blinked. No. I just remembered when I saw the Blessing of the Gods in your hand. Seeing that Celia didn't seem to be lying, Lin Xiao didn't press further. Looking at the Blessing of the Gods in his hand, despite its extreme rarity, Lin Xiao used it without hesitation. The next second, Lin Xiao completely vanished, and even his aura could not be felt. Wow, you really disappeared. I can't see you at all. Celia looked around, trying to find Lin Xiao's figure, but found she couldn't. Wait for me here. Don't wander off. Okay. Remember, don't wander off. Lin Xiao reminded her again. Don't worry. Just go ahead. After receiving Celia's assurance, Lin Xiao carefully stepped into the main hall. Although he was invisible and undetectable, he still worried about being discovered by the City Lord of Light. Upon entering the main hall, the City Lord of Light's power swept past, and Lin Xiao's heart tightened. But fortunately, nothing happened. Phew, just scaring myself. It seems this Blessing of the Gods can indeed obstruct the City Lord of Light's detection. With this confirmation, Lin Xiao boldly walked in, even reaching the center of the main hall and standing face to face with the City Lord of Light. City Lord of Light. Level? Quality, mythical. Mythical? Above epic. Lin Xiao exclaimed. This was the first time he knew there was a mythical quality above epic. So he's considered a god? No, probably not yet. He might just be a subordinate of the God of Light. Lin Xiao's thought was not without reason, because the God of Light once bestowed armor upon the City Lord of Light. But why would the God of Light's warrior be here in the Tower of Heaven? Was he imprisoned? Lin Xiao couldn't help but recall the dispute between the God of Fun and the God of Fire during the God's Assembly Hall dungeon. The God of Light belonged to the Sanctuary faction, but it seemed the God of Light had betrayed the Sanctuary. Lin Xiao wasn't sure if it was a true betrayal, but he knew that the God of Light had left the Sanctuary, and perhaps his warrior was implicated and trapped in the Tower of Heaven. Of course, all of this was just Lin Xiao's own speculation. Under the effect of the Blessing of the Gods, the City Lord of Light's patrols were as good as nothing. Lin Xiao easily passed through the main hall and arrived at the large door behind it. The treasure vault was behind the door. This is much easier than expected. Just as Lin Xiao was about to push the door open, he suddenly remembered something. Looking at the thick door in front of him, he realized he had overlooked an incredibly important detail. If I push open the door, it will make a sound. Won't it be heard by the City Lord of Light? Chapter 264. Opening the door. This was no small matter, because the blessing of the gods could only protect him from being discovered by the City Lord of Light. But if other noise occurred, it was hard to say whether the City Lord of Light would detect it. If that happened, he would definitely wake up. At that time, let alone the treasury, he might end up trapped here himself. I'll open the door and go in quickly. Even if he wakes up, I can hide and continue my actions after he sleeps again. Lin Xiao thought of a method that wasn't really a solution. It was to make the City Lord of Light think he misheard, and then obediently return to his throne to continue his slumber. But this method relied entirely on luck. Lin Xiao couldn't know whether the City Lord of Light, upon waking, would dismiss it as an illusion and sleep, or patrol back and forth for 10 days or half a month before returning to slumber. If it was the latter, he would essentially be done for, because the effect of the blessing of the gods only lasted for 30 minutes. Once the time was up, he would definitely be discovered. What should I do? Do I have to risk everything? Just as Lin Xiao was about to push the door, a head suddenly popped out from inside, startling him so much his heart nearly jumped out of his chest. Lin Xiao, where are you? I called you from inside, but you didn't answer. Haven't you come in yet? Celia asked in a hushed voice. She actually went inside. Why are you here? How did you get in? And didn't I tell you to wait for me outside? Lin Xiao also lowered his voice and asked irritably. He wasn't paying attention, and she slipped in by herself. And how did she manage that? It was too boring outside, so I came in to look for you. Why haven't you come in yet? I'm telling you, there are so many good things inside. Her extremely low voice carried a hint of excitement and agitation. Lin Xiao fell silent, and after a moment, he asked, Do you have a way to avoid the City Lord of Light's patrols? Yes, I can. I just need to hide in places where his power can't sweep through. But it's not as convenient as using your blessing of the gods. I almost got discovered. Lin Xiao. It sounded simple, but Lin Xiao knew that achieving it was incredibly difficult. Now there's a problem. If I push the door open, the City Lord of Light might wake up, so I'm wondering if I should take the gamble. Lin Xiao stated the problem he was currently facing. Ha! Celia blinked, her expression seeming to ask why he would pose such a question. Finally, she couldn't help but ask, You even prepared the blessing of the gods, yet you don't have the ability to phase through walls? Lin Xiao didn't know how to respond, because he had completely forgotten about that. He was only focused on how to avoid the City Lord of Light, completely failing to realize the issue of opening the door. Where are you? Grab my hand. I'll take you in, Celia said, extending her hand. Lin Xiao grasped Celia's hand. Wow, your hand is so big and warm, Celia exclaimed in wonder while rubbing the invisible hand. Stop talking nonsense, hurry up and go in, Lin Xiao urged. They were currently right under the City Lord of Light's nose, facing the risk of discovery at any moment. Oh. Celia pulled Lin Xiao, bringing him directly inside the door. To her, the large door seemed like nothing more than a barrier that could be crossed at will. Entering the treasury and seeing the sight before him, Lin Xiao's breath hitched, as if he had stepped into a fantasy world. On the ceiling, giant crystal chandeliers emitted soft yet brilliant light, like miniature suns, illuminating every inch of space perfectly. The floor was polished like a mirror, paved with unknown materials, reflecting everything around it, and making the entire treasury appear wider and more mysterious. The way treasures were displayed here was vastly different from the ordinary. Every treasure was carefully placed inside a specialized display case. The material of the case was neither metal nor wood, faintly emitting a soft glow, as if the radiance of the sun, moon, and stars were condensed upon it. Inside, a faint halo floated, and the treasure quietly levitated in the center of the halo. It neither touched the inner wall of the display case nor seemed to be gently protected by the halo. The halo subtly fluctuated with the treasure's aura, as if alive, clearly displaying every detail of the item. Shocking. This was the only word Lin Xiao could think of. He couldn't find any other words to describe the scene before him. Having various treasures displayed one by one before him, like an exhibition in a museum, this feeling was indescribable. Celia stood beside Lin Xiao the whole time, and only after a while did she ask, "Isn't it shocking? Just like a treasure exhibition hall." When I first came in, I was also stunned by the scene before me. Lin Xiao nodded. "This is indeed shocking." Immediately, he looked at the treasure closest to him. It was a long sword. The blade was long and straight, flowing with golden runes, like some kind of ancient incantation. The hilt was even more special, made of antique ebony, inlaid on the surface with white gems that emitted a soft glow, and capped at the end with a dazzling golden pearl. Under the illumination of the display case's light, it continuously released powerful light elemental energy, resembling a king's sword. What a fine sword! Although Lin Xiao didn't specialize in swords, he could tell at a glance that this long sword before him was extraordinary. Cursed light sword. Level 100. Quality, epic. Attribute. This was a level 100 long sword. If this sword appeared outside, it would surely shock many people and attract countless others to fight over it. This sword isn't bad. Should I take it out for you? Celia could feel Lin Xiao's attention was focused on the cursed light sword before them, so she asked for his opinion. Wait a moment. Let's deal with the main business first. Lin Xiao considered having Celia take it out and then packing it up to leave, but after thinking it over, he decided to deal with the urgent matter first. We'll talk about these things later. First, help me find the heart of the city Lord of Light. This place was simply too vast. Lin Xiao alone wouldn't know when he would finish searching. He might as well let Celia help search, lest she cause trouble elsewhere, touch something she shouldn't, and accidentally draw the city Lord of Light in. That would be interesting. The heart of the city Lord of Light? Celia froze in place, taking a couple of seconds to react before asking, "Shouldn't the heart of the city Lord of Light be on the city Lord of Light himself?" "No, it's right here. Right here." Celia's voice rose by a few decibels, seemingly having heard something unexpected. "Yes, hurry up and look for it. Oh, and if you see the armor of the Light God, remember to tell me." He hadn't forgotten the item he needed to find for the God of Fire, as it also concerned his own life. Celia gave him an okay gesture. "No problem. Leave it to me." Chapter 265. That singing was truly beautiful, simply divine. Yes. I've never heard such a beautiful voice before. A beautiful person with a beautiful voice. She's simply the perfect goddess in my heart. After listening to Xiaoyao's debut concert, the group returned to the Tower of Heaven. Seeing the gathered crowd pointing and gesturing at the Tower of Heaven, they couldn't help but feel curious. What happened? What are you all doing gathered here? One person forced their way in and asked. It's unbelievable. Someone actually reached the 95th floor of the Tower of Heaven. It's unimaginable. A man wearing gauntlets replied. What? The 95th floor? The man was stunned. He quickly looked up at the Tower of Heaven and saw that someone was indeed there, and the name was very familiar. Lin Xiao. He read the name aloud, then let out a roar. Lin Xiao reached the 95th floor? Are you kidding me? Before going to the concert, he had only reached the 10th floor. Now that he was back after the concert, the whole process, including eating a meal, was at most 3 or 4 hours. Definitely no more than 5 hours. And in just these 5 hours, he actually climbed to the 95th floor? Even traveling by rocket wouldn't be this fast. It really is outrageous. I don't know how he did it. I heard people say he was originally on the 30th floor and instantly jumped to the 95th floor. That's terrifying. You actually believe that? Lipizzi suddenly spoke up, saying, he climbed up floor by floor. I saw it with my own eyes. But he quickly shook his head and corrected himself. To be precise, he went up using an elevator. Everyone cast doubtful glances. They had never heard of such a novelty as an elevator in the Tower of Heaven. Lipizzi, quickly tell us what's going on? Someone who had heard Lipizzi's reliable tales about the 12th and 17th floors thought he might know what was happening and urged him to tell them. Lipizzi immediately adopted a serious demeanor and said dramatically, "The problem appeared on the 30th floor. I've been watching Lin Xiao's situation. He didn't stay long on the 30th floor, but afterward, he shot up floor by floor as if riding an elevator, finally stopping at the 95th floor. Perhaps he found a special area on the 30th floor that allows direct access to the 95th floor." Someone interrupted him and quickly asked, "Then do you know where this special area is?" Lipizzi shrugged, saying, "How could I possibly know that? And I can guarantee that even the war god doesn't know." Even the war god doesn't know? Everyone was shocked. The war god was an invincible existence in their hearts. He could accomplish anything. Could he have failed to discover an elevator on the 30th floor? It's simple. Because the highest the war god ever climbed was only the 90th floor, Lipizzi said. Maybe the war god disdains using such methods. Only by fighting his way up can he truly test his strength. I think that's very likely. If the war god wasn't so busy with official duties right now, preventing him from challenging the Tower of Heaven, he probably would have reached the 100th floor long ago. The news spread quickly. After Yao Tianyi finished dealing with matters concerning the West, he leisurely began to drink fine wine again. Just then, a message arrived, startling the drunken man awake. Holy crap! What is this? Lin Xiao climbed the Tower of Heaven to the 95th floor. His drunkenness completely vanished. He even checked the incoming message several times to ensure its accuracy. Only after multiple checks did he confirm the information was correct. The news was true. Lin Xiao had genuinely climbed to the 95th floor of the Tower of Heaven. Good heavens! How did he do it? How can a level 40 summoner climb to the 95th floor? I'm only at the 85th floor. Yao Tianyi had naturally climbed the Tower of Heaven before and knew that the difficulty increased significantly the higher you went. On the 85th floor, he already had to face level 95 monsters, and every single one of them was extremely powerful. Attempting to fight beyond your level is impossible unless you are exceptionally gifted, because those monsters are also super elites and capable of fighting beyond their own level. This is too outrageous. I must tell Wanxing about this. As soon as the call connected, before Yao Tianyi could speak, Nan Wanxing preemptively said, "I knew you would call. It's about Lin Xiao, isn't it?" "Yes, that kid actually climbed to the 95th floor. The 95th floor. That's a height even you haven't managed to reach." Yao Tianyi was extremely agitated. As Nan Wanxing's best friend, he knew how strong Nan Wanxing was. Yet, even Nan Wanxing was stuck at the 90th floor of the Tower of Heaven, unable to proceed. But now Lin Xiao had climbed to the 95th floor, which was simply unbelievable. He must have reached the 95th floor using some special means, Nan Wanxing said. I think so too. Yao Tianyi nodded, but then felt confused. If he accidentally triggered some mechanism to reach the 95th floor, he should have been killed quickly and ejected from the Tower of Heaven. But he still hasn't come out. Nan Wanxing fell silent, because he also didn't know what Lin Xiao was doing on the 95th floor. Hiding in a corner? That would be meaningless and impossible to achieve. After a moment of silence, Yao Tianyi asked, "What is the situation like above the 85th floor?" "The monsters above the 85th floor are all max level 100 monsters. On the 90th floor, I encountered a max-level mythical quality monster," Nan Wanxing replied. "Max-level mythical?" Yao Tianyi was shocked. "Yes, but these monsters aren't god-level, nor are they even demigod-level. You can think of mythical quality as an internal opponent among those of the same level." Nan Wanxing offered a brief explanation. "No opponent among those of the same level," Yao Tianyi murmured, then asked, "Not even you?" Nan Wanqing shook his head helplessly. I haven't reached max level yet. Isn't it just a little bit away? Why haven't you leveled up to max? What are you waiting for? Yao Tianyi asked curiously. Because Nan Wanqing had remained at level 99 for a long time, refusing to advance to level 100. If you leveled up to 100, the 90th floor of the Tower of Heaven definitely wouldn't stop you, Yao Tianyi said. Right, what level do you think the monsters on the 95th floor are? Demigods. Yao Tianyi knew Nan Wanqing wasn't very willing to answer, so he immediately changed the subject. Based on calculations, that's possible. Nan Wanqing nodded. What about the 100th floor? Wouldn't there be a god there? I don't know. Nan Wanqing shook his head. Maybe there's nothing at all. Yao Tianyi was startled. Nothing at all? There might not be a god, but a legacy. It might be waiting up there for the first person to reach the 100th floor.